Hello, everybody. Happy, I guess, Monday for us here. We are so excited to be joining you again for another week of the Power of Five book study. And this week, we're going to be talking all about mindset. And we had some fun chats about the power of mindset right before this call. So we're really excited to be diving in with you today on this chapter. How are you ladies doing this week?
Well, we have a special guest this week, Mr. Asher, and we get to welcome Chelsea back this week.
Hi.
Chelsea in the house. Good day. But yes, we talked a lot about how much mindset matters in every pursuit in our lives and every relationship. Of course, it's easy to think about our network marketing business as we read this chapter, but we encourage you to think as we go through it and as you go through it about the nuances of your entire life. And that can be very powerful.
Absolutely.
Oh. When he talks in that first chapter, I mean, the first sentence out of the gate, I think is so imperative and just something that I wish more people understood about network marketing. It says two people join a network marketing organization with the same opportunity at the same time, but their results are different. One succeeds and the other does not. And he thinks that it was their mindset. That's what he attributes all of it to come down to, because mindset trickles down to everything. And so often I hear from people that they started a network marketing journey and it didn't work. And I'm thinking, okay, no, your mindset probably wasn't right, or things you weren't doing weren't correct, because I do feel that a lot of people can have success in this industry. Is it easy? It is simple, but it is not easy. And it does take a lot of work, but it also takes the correct mindset throughout this journey. And that's a constant battle and a constant journey to keep your mind in the right place in order to have growth and success. So we're going to talk a bit about more about that today.
Well, and just the simple notion of having a positive attitude and a positive mindset brings those other types of humans into your life, right? So positivity loves positivity, negativity loves negativity. So he mentions without a good one, meaning a positive mindset, your life and business will crumble and collapse with the storms that inevitably come. And likewise, those that are around you with their mindset and how they do or don't support you. But it's interesting, that first paragraph when he mentions two people entering into an organization, same opportunity, same products, same, we'll call it the same age, gender, everything. And one will soar and one will not. And it made me think about a lot of business partners we've all had over the course of the last 5 years. And we step into this every single day with the exact same opportunity as everyone around us. We're not privy to any more products than others, any more tools, online tools than others. And it's just a matter of what you're willing and what you know in your mind you can do with it. And being able to sense that out as leaders in your organizations, to sense that out when you're initially working with people too, to get a good feel, kind of having a good mindset radar. So you know that might be one of the first things you have to work on with new business partners before you really work on growing your business. So I think we can all get better at kind of sniffing that out or smelling that out, so to speak, as the news.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I moved on to page 2, or page 52, but page 2 of the chapter. And he goes on to say, and it's actually a quote by David Schwartz, who wrote the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And he says, where success is concerned, people are not measured in inches or pounds or college degrees or family backgrounds. They are measured by the size of their thinking. And something I took note of when we were back in Atlanta with John and discussing each of these chapters and the power of 5 is that mindset is a choice. And that is something that we have full control over. So just realizing that and taking responsibility. And I think a lot of the times, in the example that he used that Laura read in terms of the first sentence, saying two people are starting at the same time, they have the same opportunity, but one may be successful over the other. It's actually also taking responsibility of where your mind's at, because it may be that you're setting yourself up by not cleaning your brain constantly. I don't know if that's even a thing, but really doing that self-development that we've referred to in previous chapters, and identifying where you're at and making sure if you need to talk through something, you're doing that and just keeping your mindset in line.
Yes, that's very good. No, I wrote mindset as a choice in all caps when he said that too. And I think one of the greatest things that we can do, and I know each of you on this call do, to get into a positive mindset on days where it seems hard, or if it's not something you're good at yet, is diving into the gratitude and finding what you're grateful for. I am grateful for my current customers. I'm grateful for my past customers. I'm grateful for the orders placed in my organization today. And suddenly your heart and your mind can turn on way more of a positive note Then negative mindset. I'm sad for everyone who's left my organization. We were just talking about this right before we started the recording. I'm sad for people who are no longer with me. I'm sad for people who are no longer pouring these products in their body. You can see how just simple, almost affirmations or manifesting the gratitude can breed a positive mindset too. Not necessarily something John said, but something I thought quite a bit about when it's a choice. And Chelsea, I think that quote, I had circled and highlighted that quote from David Schwartz also. And it's funny because this was one of the first 2 books John Maxwell talked about reading when he was young. And that is like the perfect definition of network marketing. It does not matter your age, your background, your level of education, your size and shape, that again, we all walk into the same opportunity. And with enough positivity, mindset, and grit, you can make it successful. So I just think that's a really old quote, but it was made for network marketing. And he mentions it in here. I want to share the story. He mentions it at the bottom of that first page, that his father paid him to read books. And he shared the story with us when we were in Atlanta. And I've heard it one other time. Lauren, we went to that conference a lot of years ago in Vegas. I heard him share this and I wrote it down. And it's something that we actually do with our kids, even though they're not reading personal development books yet at 6 and 8. But his father paid him to read. And so throughout middle school and high school, his father provided him with these types of books that he mentions throughout this entire book. And his father would pay him to read. And think of how developed John Maxwell was by the time he was 18. Probably more than most adults walking this earth. And I think it's very cool when he shares the story. You probably could Google it and hear more about it, but I think it's something we can all pocket in parenthood or in businessship that we can pay our children to read really powerful things to start developing their mindset really early on. So I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that story because he mentions it in here. So
we're gonna move
the
on.
right mindset.
Yeah, let's get some. He loves this list, so we're gonna list out some ideas on the power of having the right mindset. So he starts off with the right mindset creates a foundation for good results. And I think we've seen that so much. The people that come into network marketing with a positive, hopeful mindset versus a skeptical, negative one are usually the ones that soar. And the ones that have a skeptical, negative one, it takes them a little longer. Eventually, obviously, like you guys said, mindset is a choice, so they can make that shift. But as John says, some people like to say all is well that ends well, but he likes to say that all is well that begins well. So when you begin with that correct mindset, if you guys are just starting out your network marketing journey, or if you need a restart, kind of a jumpstart your journey, get into that mindset because it will inevitably end well. But coming from a negative, kind of downcast, skeptical place, it won't. And those were things that I had to battle at the very beginning because my mindset was skeptical toward this industry. I said no to this opportunity for 3 years because I was so skeptical of this industry. So I had to go get that like mindset foundation that I believed in network marketing and hear the stories and build that belief as soon as possible because I knew that was going to catapult me into the success that I wanted. And without that positive mindset surrounding this industry, I was not going to hit the success that I wanted. So I'm grateful I put in that work at the beginning, set that foundation so I could move forward effectively. And it's definitely paid off.
Well, and that's just knowledge is power. And we did the same thing. I mean, Chelsea and I watched you for how many months with a negative mindset or poor belief, and being able to do some research if you need to on this industry or on your company or on your products to build that mindset in the very beginning. He references a teacher, a surgeon, he references some professions that all is well that begins well. If you're not educated in the way that you need to be for many professions or careers, there's no way that surgery is going well or that you're teaching that third grade classroom well all day. So we really have to start out very well initially. And the most successful people in any career are the ones that are very, very positive. You guys think of your kids' school teachers. Some of your most favorite school teachers are the most positive, passionate people about their job and their career that you'll ever meet. And they've earned that mindset. They've built it and they've worked hard on it, through schooling or their first couple years of teaching. So good examples that he gave for sure. Number 2, on the right mindset increases your potential. Chelsea, you've had a ton of potential in your life and in network marketing. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it speaks for itself in terms of the right mindset's going to increase. So just one of the quotes he says is, the greatest discovery of my generation is that the human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes and his mind, or of mind rather. And you change your life when you change how you think. I think that is just kind of a mic drop. You change your life when you change the way you think, and a lot of things, right? I mean, we get past bad news all the time, and how we want to interpret that bad news, or how we want to, let that impact us for the rest of the day. There's another book that talks about, I think it maybe is The Miracle Morning. Gosh, I hate to quote it if I don't know it by heart, but he talks about, if something isn't going to impact you 5 minutes from now, why would you let it take up 5 minutes of your time at this moment? Or, giving it just that 5 seconds of darn, you're bummed out on whatever that may be, and then moving forward, because it's not even really a speed bump in your journey if you look back, years from now. So I think that that's really important for sure.
Well, and the list he gives about average people and successful people is pretty cool. The one I highlighted and circled the most was the very bottom one, is average people try when they feel like it, and successful people try when they don't feel like it. And I think this is an important aspect of mindset in network marketing. I think about when I'm traveling or when I'm on a trip, and I flew home from Ohio yesterday, and I was insanely tired from the weekend I had and the lack of sleep I got. And it would have been a lot easier to have just fallen asleep while I was in a middle sleep. But I tried to have slept on that plane, and instead I got up my laptop, and that first 4-hour flight home, I was working, setting up things for the team that we need, enrolling a few people at week's end, like whatever that looks like. And I thought, how many of my team would be doing this right now, and how many would be sleeping? So it's staying consistent, and successful people do it even when they don't feel like it.
Right.
And that's kind of how the rest of the evening went too. It's a busy day. We know that in Isogenics, Sundays are really busy days for us. But it would have been easier just to be like, I'm not going to work today. And we see that time and time and time again. So of that entire list of attributes he lays out about successful people, to me, that resonated with me the most. But I wish more people would do.
Oh, there's so many things on that list, but I like to challenge popular wisdom versus following the crowd, because I always feel like I challenge people in things, and I don't always agree with everyone, and I don't mind. Like, it doesn't bother me. I can have friendly debates with people or have different opinions. I often have different opinions than I feel like the crowd does. And for so long, at times I'd question, is that right? Does that make me, or I felt insecure about it? But then that's what's allowed me to think outside the box so well, and really end up embracing this industry because it is outside the box. And I'm grateful that I've learned to challenge and continue to challenge. And that's how we innovate even within our industry. You're going to have to be changing your methods. How are you sharing? How are you marketing? What are you doing? And if you're stuck in the same old thinking it's going to be black and white, it's not. That's not how our industry works. You have to be open to change and open to challenging. What worked before is not going to work the next year or the next decade or whatever. And so it's continuing to morph and shift your mindset as needed in order to keep increasing your potential. So I loved that part.
That's good.
Yes.
Very good.
All right, moving on to number 3, the right mindset is intentional. Then this is the quote, as Chell said, mic drop. It's, don't tell me what you're going to do, show me. And John Wooden told that to John Maxwell, and I can't say that enough, because I think people can come to me with the greatest mindset or seemingly greatest mindset, but until that mindset is put into action, you never really see the results, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How many people say they're going to do it? It's a struggle in any career. It's so true. I think it's important to have examples of that in your leadership as well. I could see John saying that to many people on his staff as well.
And I think we have to ask ourselves this question when starting any new venture, any new business, anything. It's, would your life improve if you turn good intention into good action? And yes, it would, probably for every single person we ever ask that question to. But this is what separates the people that will be successful in this industry from people who are not, is, will you do that good action, or will you just continue to think about it or think about wanting to do it, and it's stepping out and actually doing it. So.
Right. So sometimes it's not the thought that counts. I hate it when people say that. Oh, it's the thought that counts. I'm like, no, execute it. Execute that great thought. It's so true. We can all do that. Well, he moves on to a new mini topic of developing an intentional mindset. So one of the great things I love about John and his writings and his teachings is that he really gives steps on how to. So not just you should be X, Y, and Z. We know you should be positive. You should have a new mindset, but how do we get there? How do we develop it? And number 1 is the affirmation that I choose to be realistic. And I think this is important. We get so excited to vision cast for people. We get so excited for people to join us and to dive in, to start changing their life with this opportunity in this vehicle, that I think sometimes we miss that, well, where are you right now? and drawing not necessarily, drawing out more steps on how we're going to get to that desired destination, a little bit more methodical. It's fun to be whimsical. And I know some of us on this call are a lot better at vision casting than others, but I love that. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? And taking a cold, hard look at that with your business partners and having your influence and your advice in that process. I'm a lot more realistic than Laura, which I think a combo of both of us would be really good for people. And everybody needs both. They need the hope and the dream. But that was a cool first step I thought he gave us to help others, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll add to that just a little bit. A lot of the times, and I can fall into this, and you guys will laugh because you'll know exactly what I'm referring to, but I often say, well, I'm really realistic. I'm a realist. Like, I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. And sometimes that is almost a Band-Aid for a negative attitude and going in with the wrong mindset. So I blame being realistic on the what ifs of what's going to happen that may not align with what I want it to be. And again, I think that does come to mindset. So being really cautious, even though it's so valid and everything he says here, the second bullet point being realistic thinking is a catalyst for change. Realistic thinking gives you credibility. Realistic thinking brings your dream into reality. I think just being really careful of what you use in terms of choosing to be realistic, because it can also be spun in a negative manner, which I'm guilty of. So I thought it was a good point to at least bring to the table for any of those that may use that as well as a crutch at times.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's that vulnerability is important. A lot of people will relate. I think it's a realism that this is a lot of hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when all of us started, there was such momentum and such incredible initial success that it wasn't that we said it was easy, but that I had an unrealistic view that anyone could do this and anyone could have the success that we had. When now, 5 years later, we're a lot more realistic about the approach and not over promising, I guess, or over dreaming or over shooting for the stars, whatever that looks like. And that level of realism, I think, is just another level of professionalism, but that comes with time and almost seniority in the profession. But we can all start with that a little bit sooner too, because then we can make better promises to ourselves and have a better work ethic in the beginning, rather than getting rich quickly, growing a massive team quickly, things like that,
yes.
Good or bad, a lot of people think.
Well, yeah, there are parts of our industry that are exciting in many companies. There is an unlimited income potential. Their products, we offer products that every single person, at least in our company, that every single person purchases every day anyway. So there's that extremely positive thought in that, oh my gosh, I can help everyone, when that's not realistic. But I love the chart about fantasizers versus dream builders. Because if anything, I know a lot of people are like overly optimistic, or just think, oh, if that one person joins my organization, it's going to all come together, but if you're not disciplined, it's not, that one person will never join you or ever end up learning about what you even have to offer. So these two little bullets these two columns on page 57 really balance out one another. And, I think it's so important that you continue to stay in that builder category. So it's not having that negative realism or that pessimistic, mindset drag you down, but then it's also not being overly fantastical. I don't know what the word is. Overly, I don't know how to describe it.
Is that a word? We know what you mean.
Like fantasizing too much about almost inflating what this could be, and then always kind of living in the shadows of that. It's being realistic and going for and building your dreams. So I think number 2 is huge, though. It's I choose to be coachable, and a coachable attitude goes so far. I remember when I first said to my friend Kelly that I wanted to join this network marketing company and start my own business. I looked at her and was like, tell me exactly what you did. I'm ready and I will do it. And I've tried my hardest to be as coachable as possible to any suggestion, tip, research what others have done to be successful, be open-minded, know that my way is not always the best way. And that's taking some hard lessons. I remember there were some things that we said at the beginning that we thought worked, or that we thought were a rule, for instance, but that ended up being something that was so silly to stay focused on. Like, when should this person open their own Facebook group? Or when should this person be considered a leader? And it was not our place to say. It's whenever they want to become leaders, just lessons that we learned along the way in that. But I've learned so much by being coachable, and I'm so grateful that I came in with that attitude. And I wish more people took on that attitude, because if you want to go where someone's gone, you should do everything in your power to listen to them. And unfortunately, it doesn't always happen. But what I find is the people that are the most successful are still the ones taking notes, still the ones listening into everything, plugging into podcasts, learning about all the new innovative things, and are constantly growing as leaders, being coachable along the way.
Yeah. Well, and that last part of that was letting others speak into your life. Like, we don't have to view being coachable as a bad thing, or being given advice or told what to do. I had one point in my network marketing business where I had someone say, "You're not my boss." And I was like, well, no, sure not. Don't want to be. I've had a lot of staff before, and that's not why I started network marketing. However, it was not being coachable and taking that coachability almost as a negative thing, when I was just trying to speak into this person's life. And if we do it with the right heart and don't make it too unsolicited, so to speak, that there's so much power in that. But think of, careers. Chelsea, you didn't learn your career overnight. Laura, you didn't learn your initial career overnight. We all went to school for a very long time. And, we would not do what our teachers taught us and told us to do. So mentors and leadership, you just view them as the same, I guess. And if your successful leader says jump, then your only response should be how high and how do I do it? And we don't see that all the time, but.
And I think just recognizing they're coming from a place of only benefiting you, and realizing that they are in their place in their business in terms of a leadership because of what they've done to get there. So recognizing and being appreciative of them even lending a hand and not taking, I think that also comes down to just attitude. Mindset as well, as to the, constructive criticism, if we go that route, or even like the ideas, they're there to not have you reinvent the wheel, and just take that, everything with a grain of salt, of course, but know that it's coming. Like, you have to have an open heart to receive that information,
Totally. Agreed. Number 3, choosing to be positive. So we'll share that one of Laura's top strengths is positivity. She's very good at it. Does John have a top strength of positivity too, Laura?
I remember him saying that, yes.
Okay. But so this is innate for you. So for someone that it's not necessarily as innate, John gives some really good tips on how you can do that, and even questions that you should do. And this made me think about, do I whine? Am I a whiner? Who do I whine to? And I'm not being complacent. We've all had seasons of being complacent, sometimes hard life stuff, sometimes boredom, sometimes frustration. But I love that he gives us some tools on how to be more positive, since after all, that's what this chapter is all about, for sure.
The first one, I love it. Disarm your helplessness. You have to take away those words. There's nothing I can do about it. Do not be a victim. I say this all the time in my house, even to my children. I'm like, life's not fair. The world doesn't revolve around you. Do not be a victim. Go take care of it. And while that sounds harsh and that sounds maybe more direct, I think sometimes, especially people that are in a negative mindset, they need to hear that sometimes, and shifting them out of that negativity back into positivity, and really owning the statement that I can make a difference and I can change what's happening now. And I have nothing else I can change my mindset, which is what this whole chapter is about, and everything else will trickle down in your life. So
yeah,
I think taking that frustration and using it as fuel to then, conquer whatever you have next in your to-do list is imperative.
Yes.
And that kind of comes down to the subset of number 2, answering the hard questions. What do you really want? Why do I want this? What will it cost? Am I willing to pay the price? Am I willing to pay the price now? And identifying all of those and taking action as you see fit based on what those answers are to the hard questions.
Mm-hmm.
The no whining zone. Oops, sorry guys.
And
we're done. Okay.
That's wrap. Well, and the level of complacency, and it's hard when, network marketing, there's a lot of complacency, or people come in with very complacent habits or lifestyle. And I know that as a mentor or a leader, that can be super hard to try to work around. So I'm really glad he spoke to this, but it's also the fact that we can get complacent along our journey. Yeah. That doesn't mean having a baby. That doesn't mean going through a big loss in your life. That doesn't mean you're complacent in those times. But in seasons where you could be actively working hard or growing, choosing not to, and choosing to be complacent is not going to lend itself to success ever. So I love that he spoke to that. And then, yeah, I choose to be persistent. Number 4, we talked about this a little bit with the consistency and doing the hard work even when you don't feel like it, but doing it when it needs to be done. And that resonated with me. He gave a great affirmation that he read. What did he say? He read it every day for almost a year. That a message by W.H. Murray. I thought that was really neat that he put that in there because that could benefit so many to read that every day. I had never heard that before, that saying or written word before. Had you girls heard that before?
No, I think it's awesome.
And then he just jots through when to be persistent. I think one of the most what resonates a lot with network marketers, especially those that are new to this industry, is persistence through rejection, and how we all have to work through that and find our way. And the minute you let that rejection derail you is the minute kind of the game's over for you. And channeling that, I had a really good conversation with a photographer friend of mine locally. And, you know, when someone doesn't choose her and chooses somebody else, that's hard. And she's like, well, maybe I just need to grow a thicker skin, or maybe, you know, X, Y, and Z. And I just, you know, not everybody's ready for you at every point in time. And you're not everyone's cup of tea 365 days a year. And I've let it resonate with my own network marketing business and how we've all evolved and how we handle rejection. And we know it's always a not right now. But to stay that positive figure in their life and remain a positive mindset for you. But he said, bottom line, choose persistence always, it pays. And my response when people ask what the secret sauce in network marketing is, I say consistency and persistence, because that's the unifying trait or quality among every top income earner in every company. And we got to meet a lot of them in Atlanta when we were at John Maxwell's Leadership Center, and that we can unanimously say that's not height, it's not what you're wearing, it's not even what product you sell. It is that those humans in that room have remained persistent for a very long time. So.
I mean, he ends this subsection with bottom line, choose persistence, it pays. And just to even back up, Lindsay, what you said, I cannot agree more in regards to consistency. I think that I often get, since I do network marketing in the pockets of my life or part-time, as some would say, people often ask me, like, how can you be successful in this business if you're only devoting so many hours, you know, a day or a week or whatever it may look like that week to your business? Like, how does it even work for you? Like, I'm doing this full time and I may be struggling. And honestly, my response is consistency, because my customers come to me because I've been doing this for so long and I've never stopped. And a lot of the times, Laura is a great example, Lindsay and myself as well, in regards to joining Laura, is we waited it out, you know, to see, like, we were skeptic. We waited it out. Oh, this is going to fizzle, you know, but it didn't. That consistency is what really opened our eyes to the opportunity. And I feel like that's where I've had personal success as well, is being consistent. So when somebody comes around a year later after that initial conversation and says, okay, I'm ready, they know that I'm here to welcome them with open arms with a solution. So.
Well, and the current suggestion now is to really commit in your mind and get that mindset of persistence. My words are born brain a little bit, sorry. But to wrap your mind around the idea of giving this a good 5 to 7 years to build a solid business. And if you can stay consistent and persist through a lot of things to keep your mindset strong and continue to grow and do all these things over that 5 to 7 years, you will find some level of success in your network marketing business. You will. So we can't guarantee any type of success, but there will be some. And I just think getting that mindset now, if you are listening to this call and you're thinking, gosh, I just don't know if I want to do this, or, you know what, I tried it for the past 6 months, maybe this isn't for me, or I've been in for about 3 or 4 years, and I want to say, you're just getting started. Like, give yourself time. You have to grow. You could shift things. What can you do differently? And have that long-term mindset. Persist through all this stuff. And that's when you'll start to see that success. So I just want to challenge you to shift into that long-term mindset if you're listening right now. And I think that leads perfectly into number 5, which is the last point that he has, is I choose to believe in myself and my purpose. Do you see the word choose? So he's saying you are making a deliberate choice to choose your company, to choose this journey, to choose attending events, to choose listening to podcasts, to choose to get on studies like this, to build your business, to build your mindset and your belief into a successful business. Because as he said, what begins well ends well. So if you're beginning your journey, if you're taking the time to set your mindset in the right place, to choose to continue to believe in yourself and your purpose, it will all come together. But you have to continue to make that choice. You have to be the one to do it. We can't do it for you. I wish we could. I wish I could inject you with what I see in you and what I see for you through this. But you have to be the one to choose it time and time again.
Very true. Every day we have to choose it.
Yes, and
Not just.
what have been some of the ways that you guys have found to help you continue to choose when you're down or when things aren't going the best or you need to get that mindset up? How have you shifted to choose yourself and your purpose in this network marketing journey again? What are some things that you both have done?
Go for it, Chelsea, or do you?
Yeah, no, sorry, my phone was ringing. I think for me, one reason, like, especially even pushing through not only the hard days, but I know you mentioned rejection, and not to go back, but I think that that's really hard. And a lot of people quit this industry because of the fear of rejection or because they can't handle rejection well. But actually, being persistent, pushing through that, we already covered. But for me, when I, have those tough days or I experience a no, or somebody elects to go with another company, it's just reminding myself of what I've been able to achieve thus far and not making it about me per se, but remembering that text message of somebody who was so, thankful and grateful, and I cried reading it, that their wedding ring fit after 2 years because they found these products. And if it, thanking me for sharing them and remembering why I'm actually doing this, because the purpose isn't necessarily myself, it's for all those people that I can serve and add value to.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a great answer. Chelsea, I screenshot some of the most beautiful and heartwarming transformative messages that you get as a mentor leader in the health and wellness industry. I screenshot those and pocket those. And that is why we do what we do. That is why we'll never stop. My love affair with our products and how they transform health, it is absolutely what keeps me going, Laura, when it seems to get negative or seems to get hard. And then I know in my heart, I'm in the right place at the right time with the right company and right products, that there's nowhere else I'd rather be. So even on the hard days, even when this industry seems overwhelming or my job at hand seems overwhelming, there's nowhere else I would rather be with this type of income ability, the limitlessness of it, a compensation plan, and that I would never go start a brick and mortar right now. I would never go find another company right now. You know what I mean? So I think it's just going back to the roots and remembering what exactly it is that you have. And if you don't feel that way, know that it's possible. I hope that each of you listening feel that way and feel that married and committed to the journey that you're on. But you can, and it's possible. And that's what keeps me consistent and persistent. There's no better opportunity. I know that.
And I think for me, it's having that vision board really constant in my mind and continuing to evolve my vision of what I want this to be for my family, for my team, for everyone. So I have a vision board that I keep on, and I always have it visible when I'm doing things. So I think that that's something that's been super helpful for me. I need that actual visual around to remind me of like, what's that next step, or what am I going to keep growing toward or shifting toward? It makes a big difference.
I love that.
Yeah. So
you've crushed vision boards. You're a good example of how to have successful long-term, short-term vision boards.
Yes, they're very helpful for me. I need to see that tangible goals, reaching for things are huge. And so I think to end this chapter, he wants you to kind of scale your mindset, to rate yourself as you review your mindset choices. And I think that you need to be honest with this, because if this is an area of growth for you, you need to dive in and do it ASAP if you want to be successful in this industry. So answer those on a scale from 1 to 5 as realistically as you can and honest as you can on page 65. And then, as he says, the better your mindset, the higher your number will be. And so hopefully you can dive into some of these tips and tricks that he talks about. Listen to the podcast, go to the events, use your products, fall in love with your company, do what you need to do to shift your mindset into a positive place so that it is rock solid and you can move forward with that successful foundation that you need to be successful in this industry.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because mindset matters. Yeah. Our third power.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. At the end of the chapter 2, if you need some more help, as always, he lists a couple books that he's written that will help develop your mindset. So feel free to dive into those, listen to those on Audible if you need to. I'm so grateful that not only does John provide us with these tools for our network marketing business, but to further expand and grow as people and as leaders. So he has so many tools for us. Tap into those as much as you need to.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate you, ladies. Have a
All
good
right,
one.
love. Well, we will see you all next week. Thank you for joining us again. We will move on to the next power. I hope you have a wonderful week, and cheers to positive mindsets.
Bye.
Bye.